All right. Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome. Welcome to today's episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Otis Landerholm, and I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to today's episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Today, my topic is that Trump has added Brazil and a bunch of other countries, which I'll go through some of them, to our travel ban this week. And so that's our topic for today. And so welcome to our episode today. And I'm going to jump right in because I've got a short time window today for our live session. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right. Today, our theme is this latest travel ban that has gone into effect at 48 hours ago. Trump has added Brazil, has added many other countries to the list of countries that are affected by the quote-unquote travel ban. This one is a little bit different than what we've seen so far, but it's important that you're aware of it. Okay? And my question, as always, is, hey, do you want to get a green card? Do you want to get asylum? Do you want to get U.S. citizenship? Do you want to apply for a U visa or VAWA or TPS or some kind of immigration status? Or do you want to at least figure out what the best strategy is or what the best option is or what the best solution might be for you to up-level your life through legal immigration means? Because if so, go for it, all right? And I'd love to help you with that. My firm is on a mission to win 10,000 immigration cases in the next 10 years. We would love for your case to be one of them, all right? So welcome. As I'm talking today, I will have some time to take some questions. And so if you have questions, please feel free to submit them. I do have a hard stop 15 minutes from now, so I'm going to have to move relatively quickly today. And I'm sorry about that, but that's the reality. All right. So what's the latest news? I'm going to jump right in with it. So this week, all right, this week, the Trump administration, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, has announced a latest addition to the travel ban. And it affects people who this latest edition does not affect people who are applying for temporary visitor visas, etc., temporary types of visas, but it does affect people who are applying for green cards. All right? And there's a total of 75 countries. It includes the countries that were on the previous travel bans that I've done several episodes about. But it expands it. That former ban was 35 countries, and now it's added an additional what, 30, 40, it's added an additional 40 countries to the list, okay? And it includes countries like Brazil and Russia and Pakistan and Nigeria and Iran and Nicaragua and Colombia and Egypt and Guatemala and many, many, many others, okay? And so you want to check, feel free to Google it, 75 countries on travel ban, if you want the whole list, and we can figure out how to put the whole list in our show notes if possible. Let me do something here to try and facilitate that. Let's see if I can put these into our show notes. I'm putting a link to my team. Maybe we could make that happen. Anyway, so there's a long list. I'm not going to read every country right here, right now, that is on this ban because there's 75 of them. That would take several minutes to do that. So what Marco Rubio specifically said, and what they're talking about, is they're going to pause immigrant visas for the time being. All right, and what they say is immigrant visa processing from these 75 countries will be paused while the State Department reassesses immigration processing procedures to prevent the entry of foreign nationals who would take welfare and public benefits. All right, that's the official statement. And let me repeat that last piece of it. To prevent the entry of foreign nationals who would take welfare and public benefits. What this is connected to is the quote unquote public charge doctrine. And remember, under the first Trump administration, they were instructing officials and looking for ways to deny green card applications under the public charge rationale. All right, and they created a whole new set of forms that had to be filled out in order to demonstrate that someone was not likely to become a public charge and need welfare or need government assistance. And so that's what some of this is about. Okay, and so how long will this pause last? We do not know. How, what steps are the State Department really going to be taking? We do not know. It's not clear at this stage. All we know is what's been announced, right? That the State Department is pausing immigrant visa processing for people who are applying for green cards, immigrant visas, from 75 different countries throughout the world. Okay, including the countries that I've listed there. So I wanted to share that. That's the latest update. If you have questions about it, please feel free to submit your questions. I wanted to give a brief update also because I said that I would. I had a hearing in immigration court yesterday. All right. So if you are in immigration court and if you're filing for asylum, pay attention to what I'm about to say. This is a different conversation, okay? So I had a hearing in immigration court yesterday, and in the hearing, right? I'm there, my client, his wife, their little tiny baby. They have a 3-month-old little baby, very cute. Was there. We were all in front of the judge, and they have applications for asylum that my office has prepared. They have, in my opinion, strong arguments for asylum here in the U.S. While we're there and we're going through what the judge has to go through, and I do pleadings to the notice to appear, and I'm ready to set the case to an individual hearing, the government attorney, all right, says, sorry, Your Honor, we're going to move to pre-termit your asylum application. And we've heard that this is happening throughout the country, but I wanted to explain what happened. So the government asked to pre-termit. I said, Your Honor, please, I request that we receive a motion like this and a motion of this type and of this magnitude in writing so that we can really review what the government is saying and alleging, what their rationale for pre-termission is in the case, and so that we can respond. And the government said, well, per the BIA decisions that have come down recently, a written motion is not required, right? And my response was, well, Your Honor, with all due respect to the Board of Immigration Appeals, all right, I argue that due process in a situation like this, due process as defined in the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution, requires that we have clarity as to what the government is actually arguing in their motion. And the government heard my argument and go back to the government and asked the government attorney. The judge heard my argument, goes back to the government attorney and says, counsel, could you get this in writing? And the government attorney was like, yes, we can put it in writing. And I was like, perfect. And Your Honor, could we please have 30 days to respond? And the judge granted my request for 30 days to respond, which I'm grateful for. And so now we've got to respond to this motion to pre-termit my client's asylum cases because of these new asylum cooperative agreements. And specifically, they're arguing that my clients, all right, are subject to asylum cooperative agreements from Ecuador, from Guatemala, and from Honduras, which means that now, in the next 30 days, we're going to be submitting arguments that my client is eligible for asylum, not just from their home country, but also that they have a fear of persecution and harm in Ecuador, Guatemala, and Honduras. And that's what we're going to do. All right? And that's what you got to be ready to do. If you're about, if you've got an asylum claim in immigration court, you got to be ready to do that. And so, because this is happening. All right, I just wanted to share that. That's my update as to what happened in court this week, just yesterday, actually. And so I'm going to go rapid fire because I have, 6 minutes left before my next commitment. And so let's see. Hey Turner 6613. I see your question. You say my I-751 is still pending. If I apply for U.S. citizenship, will it expedite my I-751 waiver? Thanks for the answer in advance. Hey, thank you for asking this question. I actually love cases like yours. The answer is no, it won't expedite your I-751 waiver, but yes, you can do that, all right? And it's actually not a bad strategy. What often happens, and in my experience when we're in that situation, if you've got an I-751 pending and you're eligible for U.S. citizenship, file for citizenship, and what often happens is your citizenship process will go as normal, and then when you go to become a U.S. citizen, if everything's looking good, then the officer will approve both your citizenship and the I-751, and they'll approve them both on the same day. All right? And so I love cases like that. We have done several of cases like that in a similar procedural posture. And if you're eligible for both, and if you have good cases for both your I-751 and your U.S. citizenship claim, then yeah, absolutely, go for it. And if you want help with that, feel free to contact my firm. We're here to help. We'd love to do that. Okay? All right. So let's see. Flacco. All right. Hello, sir. My country's on this travel ban list. I'm a registered nurse under an EB3 visa consular processing. Any chances that I will be an exemption to the rule, considering it's an employment visa? Yeah, so it depends on which country you're from, and it depends on which part of the travel ban you're under. The latest travel ban of the 75 countries that I'm talking about is only for quote-unquote immigrant visas, for green card, the equivalent of green cards. And so if you're under an EB3, well, I see an EB3 is an immigrant visa. So that's an interesting one. If you have it already and you're in the U.S., then stay in the U.S. and keep doing what you're doing. If you're applying for it from outside the U.S., I think that your visa will be paused. Okay, I think it will be. And so, I'm not an EB3 expert or lawyer. That's not the types of cases that my firm takes on. We don't do employment-based visas or green cards. We fight for immigrants who are facing deportation, right? And so, but my understanding is yes, your green card application will be paused. All right. Alexandra 1234. You say new DACA application is open in Virginia. Okay, good. I haven't seen any. I don't know if that's the latest news. I haven't seen that this morning, but I'll check that out. If that's happening, I'll do a separate video about that. That's great. Flamour, you say my parents have an interview next week, and they're here for a green card, and they have 2 years, and I support them. Okay. That sounds good. If you need any, I don't know if you have a question there, but I'm glad that you're in that situation, and good luck with your case. And if you need help for your parents, feel free to reach out. We're here to help. We'd love to help. All right. JAL, you say, can someone that was a resident but was deported 15 years ago still fix their status again? Yes, it is possible. All right. We've got to look at all the records. We've got to see if there was an error that caused the deportation. We've got to see if there's a way to reopen the case despite the deportation. There's a lot of work that needs to go in to try to fix that situation. Yes, it is possible. Yes, I have won some cases that are in that situation, but it's not easy, all right? It's not a straightforward path. We've got to request and review all those records very carefully, to see whether or not it's possible and what's the mechanism that we're going to use or argue to try to fix that for you. Okay? Let's see, Momo US, the 75 countries suspended visas, does that impact people who are applying for citizenship waiting for their oath ceremony? No, it does not. All right? The other travel bans that are out there do. Okay? The other travel bans that are out there do, but this latest one affects immigrant visas like where you're applying for your green card. If you're applying for citizenship, waiting for your oath ceremony, it should not apply to you at all. Okay? Elias, I see your question here. Is the effect for K1 visas? Because they just approved it. I'm waiting for the NVC case number. I believe it will apply for K1 visas, although I'm not 1,000% sure about that. We'll receive additional information in the upcoming days and weeks, but I believe it will. Okay? The reason it is because a K1, yes, technically it's a non-immigrant visa, but the point of it is to enter, marry, and then apply for a green card. So it will affect that process. Okay? Let's see. User 7031. This is my last question today, folks. I'm sorry. I've got a hard stop. All right? User 7031. I have a green card and I had a DUI 10 years ago. Scared to travel outside the U.S. Is it safe? Talk to a lawyer just to be sure and to get precise legal advice about your situation. And if it's a simple DUI, all right, and if no aggravating circumstances, and if you've paid everything and you don't have any outstanding warrants for your arrest, etc., I've had thousands of clients that have traveled in your situation without issue, all right? As of current law today, a simple single DUI is not a quote-unquote deportable offense, and it does not cause a person to have their green card taken away. Just make sure, really the best advice is get actual advice from an attorney before you leave, just to check those documents, make sure it's all in order, make sure you're good. But by and large, yeah, you're okay. Okay? It's 10:44. I got to run. I'm really sorry about that. But thank you all so much for being here. Yes, we do help with detention cases. Anybody that's in immigration detention, we are here to help. We would love to help. My name's Otis Landerholm, everybody. I'm a certified specialist in immigration law. I'm also the owner of Landerholm Immigration A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. Thank you all so much for being here. Sorry to be a bit rushed this morning. And I wish you all a very, very wonderful Thursday. We'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. If this was useful, if this was helpful, please like, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, everybody. Make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.